So on the issue of race, I couldn't agree more that this is an issue that is still not being talked about truthfully and honestly. There is not a black man I know, be he a relative, a friend, or a coworker, who has not been the subject of some form of profiling or discrimination. Growing up, my sister and I had to deal with the neighbor who told us her parents couldn't play with us because we were black. And I will say also that in this campaign, we've also heard, and I'm going to now direct this at Vice President Biden, I do not believe you are a racist. And I agree with you when you commit yourself to the importance of finding common ground. But I also believe, and it's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing. And, you know, there was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me. So I will tell you that on this subject, it cannot be an intellectual debate among Democrats. We have to take it seriously. We have to act swiftly. As Attorney General of California, I was very proud to put in place a requirement that all my special agents would wear body cameras and keep those cameras on.
Senator Harris, thank you. Vice President Biden, you have been invoked. We are going to give you a chance to respond. Vice President Biden.
It's a mischaracterization of my position across the board. I did not praise racist. That is not true, number one. Number two, if we want to have this campaign litigated on who supports civil rights and whether I did or not, I'm happy to do that. I was a public defender. I didn't become a prosecutor. I came out and I left a good law firm to become a public defender when in fact my city was in flames because of the assassination of Dr. King. Number one. Number two, as the Vice President of the United States, I work with a man who, in fact, we worked very hard to see to it we dealt with these issues in a major, major way. The fact is that in terms of busing, you would have been able to go to school the same exact way because it was a local decision made by your city council. That's fine. That's one of the things I argued for, that we should be breaking down these lines. But so the bottom line here is, look, everything I've done in my career, I ran because of civil rights. I continue to think we have to make fundamental changes in civil rights. And those civil rights, by the way, include not just only African Americans, but the LGBT community.
But Vice President Biden, do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America then?
No.
Do you agree?
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education. That's what I opposed.
Well, there was a failure of states to integrate public schools in America. I was part of the second class to integrate Berkeley, California public schools almost 2 decades after Brown v. Board of Education.
Because your city council made that decision. It was a local decision. So
that's where the federal government must step in. That's why we have the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act. That's why we need to pass the Equality Act. That's why we need to pass the ERA, because there are moments in history where states fail to preserve the civil rights of all people.
In this video, you just watched Kamala Harris grill Joe Biden during the primaries. Both fought against each other to prove that they are better suitable to be the Democratic Party's presidential nominee for 2020 US elections. Would you believe that months later, the same candidates that are standing against each other to prove that they are better choice would face the elections as one team? Well, that's the beauty of some democracies. Today, Democratic Party's 2020 presidential election candidate Joe Biden has picked Indian American Kamala Harris as his running mate. Announcing his decision on Twitter, Joe Biden tweeted, "I have the great honor to announce that I have picked Kamala Harris, a fearless fighter for the little guy and one of the country's finest public servants, as my running mate." With this, Kamala Harris has several firsts on her name. She is the first woman to be selected as vice presidential candidate by any major party in the US. a woman has never served as president or vice president in the United States. Earlier, only 2 women have been nominated as running mates on major party tickets, Democrat Geraldine Ferrero in 1984 and Republican Sarah Palin in 2008. Kamala Harris is also the first black woman to have been chosen to run for vice president. She is the first Indian American to run for VP and the first Asian American to have the chance as well. Currently, she is California Senator. Reacting to the announcement, Harris tweeted that she is honored to join him as vice president and she will do what it takes to make him the commander-in-chief. She tweeted, "Joe Biden can unify the American people because he has spent his life fighting for them. And as a president, he will build an America that lives up to their ideals." But who is Kamala Harris? 55-year-old Kamala Harris was born in Oakland, California. She is a former Attorney General of California and a former San Francisco District Attorney. Kamala Harris' father, Donald Harris, was from Jamaica and her mother, Shamala Gopalan, a cancer researcher and civil rights activist, hailed from Chennai. Harris's record as prosecutor was a major theme of her presidential campaign and it will most certainly be discussed in the general election, especially given the national outcry over police brutality and systematic racism since the killing of George Floyd. Harris has described herself as a progressive prosecutor and argued that it is possible to be tough on crime while also confronting the deep inequities of the criminal justice system. But aspects of her record have been a source of criticism, especially from the left. The critics point that as Attorney General, she rarely prosecuted police officers who killed civilians. She was also criticized for refusing to allow advanced DNA testing that might have exonerated Kevin Cooper, a black man on death row. However, the criminal justice plan she released during her presidential campaign contained a number of progressive policies that she had opposed earlier in her career. Elected to the Senate in 2016, Harris was the first black woman in the chamber in more than a decade. During her relatively brief time as California's junior senator, she has become known for her intensive interrogations of Trump administration officials and nominees, including Brett Kavanaugh during his Supreme Court confirmation hearing and Attorney General Jeff Sessions during a Senate Intelligence Committee hearing. In the recent years, she sought to align herself more with the Democratic Party's left wing, initially supporting Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All bill before shifting her position during the presidential campaign. Harris dropped out of the presidential race late last year after running low on money. She shot up in the polls after a strong first debate, but then fell and never really regained the traction. But since Joe Biden has picked her as his vice presidential nominee, will this duo be able to defeat Trump on November 3?
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.
If you like this video, please share it and we would love to hear your comments in the comments section down here. Also, please do like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter to get minute-to-minute news updates. For more such shows and videos, well, subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.
If you like this video, please share it and we would love to hear your comments in the comments section down here. Also, please do like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter to get minute-to-minute news updates. For more such shows and videos, well, subscribe to our YouTube channel.